Through Weight Loss by Hers, you can give yourself something to be excited about in 2025. You can spend the new year in control of your weight by losing up to an average of 9 pounds in your first month. This is based on data that real Hers customers have reported based on their personalized compounded GLP-1 treatment plans. Hers is transforming women's healthcare by providing access to affordable weight loss treatment plans, delivered straight to your door if prescribed. Hers offers a holistic weight loss program with personalized solutions, including compounded GLP-1 weekly injections, featuring the same active ingredient as Ozempic and Wegovy or oral medication kits. So if you've been struggling with your weight loss journey, it's time for you to find the best option that works for you through Hers. Start your initial free online visit today at forhers.com/KKC. That's FORHERS.com/KKC for your personalized weight loss treatment options. forhers.com/KKC. Hers weight loss is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions apply. Wegovy and Ozempic are not compounded. Actual price depends on product and plan purchased.
The start of a new year is the perfect time to get organized, set goals, and prioritize what matters most. For me, a top priority is my financial wellness, which feels more important than ever. Thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable. They show me all of my subscriptions right in one place and help me easily cancel ones that I forgot I've been paying for. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lower bills for you. They automatically scan your bills to find opportunities to save. Then you can ask them to negotiate for you. They'll deal with customer service so you don't have to. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/Wondery today. That's rocketmoney.com/Wondery. rocketmoney.com/Wondery.
The amazing Kate Casey.
Welcome back for another episode of Reality Life with Kate Casey. Today's episode is about Kobe, the Making of a Legend, a 3-part CNN docuseries. Kobe Bean Bryant was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Named after a city in Japan, he was the son of former NBA player Joe "Jelly" Bean and wife Pam Bryant. He started playing basketball at the age of 3. In 1984, after ending his NBA career, his father began playing in Italy for an Italian league. The younger of 2 athletic sisters, Kobe played basketball and soccer. By 1991, the family returned to Philadelphia, and he joined the Lower Merion High School basketball team, leading it to the state championships 4 years in a row. But rather than pursuing a college career, he pursued a career in the NBA, selected by the Charlotte Hornets with the 13th overall pick of the 1996 NBA draft, and was subsequently traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, a shooting guard, he spent his entire 20-year career with the Lakers. Widely regarded as one of the sport's greatest and most influential players of all time, and most celebrated sports icons in history. He won 5 NBA championships, was an 18-time All-Star, 15-time member of the All-NBA team, 12-time member of the All-Defensive team, the 2008 NBA Most Valuable Player, and a 2-time NBA Finals MVP. He ranks 4th in league all-time regular season and postseason scoring. After injury in November of 2015, he announced that he would retire at the end of the season. The NBA commissioner, Adam Silver, said at the time, with 18 NBA All-Star selections, an NBA MVP, 5 NBA championships with the Lakers, 2 Olympic gold medals, and a relentless work ethic, Kobe Bryant is one of the greatest players in the history of our game. Whether competing in the finals or hoisting jump shots after midnight in an empty gym, Kobe has an unconditional love for the game. In 2016, in his last game of his career, he scored 60 points to lead the Lakers to a win against the Utah Jazz. It was the 6th time he had a 60-point game of his career. Kobe Bryant was a basketball prodigy. His mental state of mind elevated his greatness, a killer instinct, unparalleled work ethic, and never give an inch mindset. So won all of these NBA championships, all NBA first team honors, 2-time finals MVP, and scored 33,643 points during his career. And again, won gold medals in 2008 and 2012. In 2018, he won the Academy Award for Best Animated Short Film for Dear Basketball. He married Vanessa in April of 2001, and the couple became parents to 4 daughters, Natalia, Gianna, Bianca, and Capri. On January 26, 2020, he was on board a Sikorsky S-76 helicopter that crashed in the suburb of Calabasas, right outside of Los Angeles. 9 people, including Kobe and his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, who's also called Gigi, died. The helicopter was on its way from Orange County to Thousand Oaks, where he was scheduled to coach a tournament game at Mamba Sports Academy. Kobe Bryant and I both lived in the Philadelphia suburbs at the same time, and he was already a legend there. Everyone talked about Lower Merion star, and so proud when he moved on to the NBA. Years later, we would end up in the same town, kids similar ages, friends in common. One Halloween, my husband was in disbelief when he arrived at our door with his kids to collect candy. On the day of his death, I was in line buying groceries at Whole Foods, and I looked down at my phone and saw the TMZ announcement, and I exclaimed loudly, "Oh my God, Kobe Bryant died in a plane crash." And everybody around me gasped. He was not just a sports icon, but also a local dad, a father regularly at drop-off, someone we also regularly at the Coffee Bean in Corona Del Mar, a beloved coach and friend to many. Kobe was a practicing Catholic. He and his daughter, Gigi, received the Eucharist together just hours before they died. So after I left the grocery store, I picked up my son at lacrosse and I passed the church, that same church. And I thought, how could this be possible? They have just been there. And our town was in a daze for days, if not weeks. And I'm pretty sure yours was as well. His death, the death of Gigi, who was not only a stand-up basketball star, undoubtedly headed to the WNBA. She was just months from her 8th grade graduation. It's just unthinkable, massive losses. Kobe Bryant was involved in many charities, including the Kobe and Vanessa Bryant Family Foundation. He supported youth sports programs and homelessness initiatives. He was a strong advocate for girls' sports, women's basketball, and the WNBA, and a proud girl dad. Kobe Bryant's Mamba mentality is a philosophy that emphasizes hard work, resilience, and perseverance, and it's a mindset that can be applied to many aspects of life, not just basketball. It's an unwavering belief in something that you can actually got a chance to touch and see and witness. He said this at the time of his retirement speech, per Bleacher Report. Those times when you get up early and you work hard, those times when you stay up late and you work hard, those times when you don't feel like working, you're too tired, you don't want to push yourself, but you do it anyway. That is actually the dream. That's the dream. It's not the destination, it's the journey. And if you guys can understand that, then what you'll see happen is you won't accomplish your dreams. Your dreams won't come true, but something greater will. Kobe, The Making of a Legend is a 3-part CNN documentary series exploring the life and legacy of an American icon, shedding light on the unseen forces that shaped his journey, from following in the footsteps of his father, former NBA player Joe Bryant, to becoming one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Kobe Bryant's life was one of triumph, controversy, and transformation. The series delves into his meteoric rise, the family dynamics that grounded him before it fractured them, the sexual assault allegation that cast a long shadow even after the case was dismissed, and his evolution into a storyteller and devoted father. And through it all, Kobe's alter ego, the Black Mamba, emerges as both his armor and his reinvention. His life and legacy continue to inspire and spark dialogue about greatness, redemption, and humanity. This 3-part series premieres Saturday, January 25th at 9 p.m. Eastern Pacific, and the series will air on Saturdays at 9 p.m. And my guest in this episode is the executive producer, Eric Johnson. Here is my interview.
Get ready for epic family fun at Capital One Arena. January 24th through January 26th, it's the Monster Jam. Bigger trucks, bigger stunts and even bigger thrills. Then on February 14th, WWE takes over with electrifying action and your favorite superstars live in the ring. Don't miss the Harlem Globetrotters on March 8th, a slam dunk of fun for everyone. Tickets are on sale now at CapitalOneArena.com. Don't wait, grab your seats tonight and secure memorable moments for your whole family.
Behind those cozy nights at home, thousands of employees at BP go to work every day. People producing more U.S. natural gas. People building grid-scale solar capacity. People turning landfill waste gas into pipeline-quality renewable natural gas. And people delivering all of that power where it's needed. They're part of the more than 300,000 jobs BP supports across the country. Learn more at bp.com/investing in America.
Eric Johnson, this was so well done. I need you to know that by the end of the last episode, full crying face. Cried my face off. First, I want to congratulate you on this.
Huge thank you, and huge thank you to my team, led by Emily Taguchi, who is the supervising producer on the project. They really poured their hearts into this over the last year.
Well, I know that you're a big basketball fan. So take me to the moment where you find out that you're going to do this project. What's the first thing you think of? Like, what part of the story were you most excited to tackle?
Well, this is a great question. So we love here at CNN, we love, telling stories of impactful people. Our team just worked, prior to this, we had worked on a Martha Stewart 4-part series. And we were looking for our next profile, our next person to kind of take a deeper dive into. And like you mentioned, I'm a huge basketball fan. I grew up watching basketball. My family has really strong roots in Philadelphia. They're all from Philly. And so Kobe was and continues to be such an impactful man in my life, in my family's, in the conversations that we have. As a fan of the sport, there's no greater competitor than Kobe, even though he constantly tormented my New York Knicks. And so when it came to kind of picking our next topic, what we look for, we're trying to figure out, who has made that impact. And 5 years after his tragic death, we just felt like it was the time to kind of go back and look at his life. I always get excited to do sports stories here at CNN because, we're not a major sports broadcaster. We're CNN. We take a kind of newsy look at things. And I think of it as a different type of challenge because I want to share my love of sports and my love of basketball with the audience. And so we started digging around a little bit of how we would tell Kobe's story that would be the CNN way of doing it. And so we embarked on that about a year ago. We made lots of calls. We dug into every aspect of his life, of his family. I was always under the sort of something that bothered me after Kobe passed, and something that was intriguing to me. I was intrigued by how much his death really impacted with people, even people that maybe didn't even know basketball that much. It's just like everybody worldwide understood him and felt connected to his life and his death. And something that bothered me was I always feel like people felt like Kobe kind of fell out of the sky, that he just kind of emerged. And I didn't feel like his family was given as much due as they should have. And by his family, I mean his parents and siblings. And so that was an aspect of his life that we wanted to kind of dig into a bit more. It's just looking at the family who helped raise this guy to be one of the greatest athletes of all time.
Origin stories to me are so important. It really sets the tone of the lens through which someone looks at life. And you have a better understanding of the decisions that they've made, their reaction to life experiences as well. Can you talk to me a little bit more about Joe and Pam and the role they had in the earlier parts of his life, but also his sisters, his older sisters, who were also very athletic?
Yeah, well, the family is, yes, athletic, naturally athletic. and competitive. From our reporting, we've heard that his mom really gave Kobe, his mom Pam Bryant, really gave him that competitive drive. The thing that I'm just interested about, they were very tight knit, close, had moved the entire family, as we get into in the documentary, to Italy, where Joe Jellybean Bryant, he had played, several years of NBA basketball here in the States, and then went out there to play overseas and brought the whole family with him at a time when you were just starting to see American players really start to influence basketball globally. And Kobe and his sisters they were fluent. In Italian, they really embraced the culture there, and they were their own unit. And they built each other up. And what you really saw out there was that's where Kobe's basketball skills really started to come to fruition in terms of how he learned how to play the game. He loved watching his dad play. And, I think it was it's just so we went out there to Italy to kind of understand what their dynamic was out there. And then when they moved back to the States, to Pennsylvania, to the Philadelphia area, you saw that tight-knit family continue to thrive all the way up through when he was finally drafted by the NBA. So they were always just like a unit that his mom and dad recognized very early on that Kobe had this special gift, that it wasn't just, his dad described it as the look in his eye in our documentary, this look that he got when he was playing. And it's beyond something you can't measure, which is something else his dad says. Somebody can be athletic, but you can't measure heart. And Kobe was just so devout towards basketball, and that came from his parents, from his folks.
I also wondered watching it, did he see himself as a European, as an Italian man, or as a man of Philadelphia, or as a man of LA, or all three? Like, which of those three tranches spoke to him most?
I mean, I think Kobe's American. Broadly, he is a symbolic to me American, which is somebody that is kind of worldly, that is kind of taking all of these different cultures and that are letting those cultures influence his life. When he came back to the States after being in Italy for so long, of course he had friends there. He had cultural things that he took with him here. The way he dressed was different. And he was coming back to America, and Philadelphia particularly, at a time when you're talking about hip hop and rap and all of these things kind of blowing up, and having to fit into those spaces is something that, even though I didn't grow up in Italy, I think it's something I related to. I think it's something that's still part of the Black experience. And we were interested in just seeing his transition from being out there in Europe, being a Black American in Europe, which I'm sure was not easy all the time, but it seemed, based off of the interviews done with him and his family, that they felt very welcome. His friends out there that we spoke to, they thought it was amazing that there was a Black American kid in their classrooms. They just really embraced him, and he really embraced him. And a lot of them say that it was still home to him. But I think once he got to LA and really set his roots there is no city in the world that loves Kobe more.
Truly.
And he embraced that city. They were a match made in heaven.
So it's interesting to hear how tight-knit his family was, but it seems to have fractured once he married Vanessa. And she was quite young. He was quite young. What do you think is at the root of the disconnect there?
Well, it's hard for me to say what the cause of any tension would have been. I think that when you look at Kobe's life, he didn't live a life that that's recognizable to you or I. He was drafted into the NBA at a very, very young age, and he had to grow up very, very fast. Yes, it was his decision to do so. It was his family's decision to do so. But in doing that, I think that there was always going to be a little bit of friction. When he was moving out to Los Angeles, his family was living with him. I can imagine, and folks said this to us in the documentary, that that there were times when he probably did feel like he was a child or treated one way, and then he was looking for that kind of escape. And he fell in love, and he found that. And we're not privy to understanding, I think, all of the nuances and what the relationship was between Vanessa Bryant and his parents and the family. But you can imagine, based off of what we've seen, that it wasn't perfect. And that's not something that is just a Kobe thing. I think that happens with a lot of athletes and a lot of people that are kind of entering adulthood, and trying to navigate how to deal with their families and also building a new family, especially when it's a young age. I will say it's remarkable that he continued to grow his relationship with Vanessa. They had 4 kids, beautiful daughters. And so that relationship, and she is still fiercely protective over him and the legacy and so on, and something that we see.
As you write your life story, you're far from finished. Are you looking to close the book on your job? Maybe turn a page in your career? Be continued at the Georgetown University School of Continuing Studies. Our professional master's degrees and certificates are designed to meet you where you are and take you where you want to go. At Georgetown SCS, the learning never stops, and neither do you. Write your next chapter. Be continued at scs.georgetown.edu/podcast.
This is a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup sound experiment. We're looking to find the perfect way to hear Reese's so you'll buy more of them. Here we go. Reese's, 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 Reese's. Hey, get out of here, you little stinker. Reese's.
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 Peanut Butter Cups. That breathy one sounded very creepy, am I right?
Now, because you're CNN, you, as you mentioned, you really took a news point of view. So the entire second episode really covers the assault. I appreciate the work that you put into it. And it's hard to go back in time and to remember all of the details of it. What was your takeaway after working on that episode? It's pretty heavy.
Yeah, it was very heavy to work on, very interesting to work on. And honestly, for me as a journalist and as a basketball fan and as somebody who is a huge fan of Kobe, when we started digging into that specific episode, because we knew we were going to have to get into it, there was a lot that I had personally misremembered or forgotten. You kind of
Me too.
put things behind you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And after he passed, I remember there were some conversations and bubbling up, but it was never, perhaps it wasn't the time for people to kind of dig super deep into that. And so, I have this belief, and we knew this going into this project, any documentary that says they're a documentary about Kobe Bryant has to address the assault allegations. It has to. It's part of his story. It's part of his basketball story. It helps inform who he became. He was a bit of I believe he was a different person somewhat before and after that whole experience. And the more we started to dig into it, the more we felt like it was something the audience would need to hear and to take something away with. We're not asking people to feel one way or the other about Kobe. We want people to kind of hear it, take it in, and figure out how they accept it or not. But it was something that once we started digging into, it's the story itself says a lot, not only about him and his relationships, et cetera. It says a lot about us it says a lot about how it was covered. And by us, I mean Americans. How it was covered, how we responded to it at the time was something very fascinating to me. The idea that he would go from a hearing in Eagle, Colorado, and on that same day fly to a game, run off the plane, run onto the court without much of a warm-up, and be able to hit game-winning shots. It's incredible to me, and not just from an athletic point of view, but from
like
just
a mental point of view.
Mental point of view. And you can argue a lot of things about like how would someone be able to do that, and we want people to grapple with that themselves. But I think that it's important for us to hear that story.
I agree.
And so I think as we look ahead, Kobe, there will probably be dozens, and there should be dozens of documentaries about him. I think he's incredibly fascinating. I think that any truly honest piece of work will need to address what happened in Eagle, because it is an important part of his story.
So as we move into the last episode, we really learn more about his shift into retirement and how he really began this whole new chapter of his life as a storyteller, mixed with interviews with people that he was working with on projects, including John Williams. I think the part that I felt so emotional about was feeling like someone really began to feel like they were doing their life's most important work, and then for them to pass away. As you interviewed so many people in that chapter of his life, what was the sense that you got of how he felt about his vision of who he was and who he wanted to be before he passed away?
You just put that question so well. When you hear him talking in those last years, he is so remarkably aware of where he was headed and what his passions were. And he was this idea of storytelling, he really got it. And it's one of these things that you wonder where he would have continued to take that, had he continued on. But I was left with the impression that this is a man that really lived every day as if it was his last day, or as if he was really trying to prove something every day. He did that on the court. Mm-hmm. He did that off the court. And you really see that within those last few months before he passed. It's almost poetic in a way, the amount of influence he had not only on his daughters, but on women's sports. He was really starting to advocate in a way that you really didn't see men of that level do. And it's just remarkable, coaching his daughter's team. And so I was left with the sense that not that he like anticipated this tragic death, but that he lived every day with this energy of how can I move conversations forward? How can I get more stories out there? And how can I raise the next Kobe, which was, his daughter. And so I just find him endlessly fascinating. I find like, I'm on TikTok a lot and I love social media. And so you see a lot of like truncated Kobe lessons, just clipped off. And every time I hear one, I'm like, this man he would live to inspire other people. And I think it was remarkable to see his transition from this young kid to having a really, the whole Colorado assault allegations, et cetera, into this Black Mamba space, and then into this girl dad zone. It's an amazing life arc, and each one of those chapters informs the next.
Absolutely. Well, tell everybody where they can watch it. Again, I want to congratulate you and your team. I really thought this was so well done. This is an absolute must watch.
Thank you. This will air Saturday, 9 p.m. on CNN, starting the 25th. And then it'll air, it's 3 parts. It'll air every Saturday after the 25th at 9 p.m. as well.
And where can people find you?
Find me. They can find me online. I'm on Instagram. Johnson Eric H is my handle. I'm on Twitter as Johnson Eric H, though you're likely to see a lot of Knicks posts, pro Knicks posts, go Knicks. And I'm also on TikTok at Johnson Eric H as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This is great chat, Kate.
The amazing Kate Casey.
I want to thank my wonderful guest, Eric Johnson, and remind you to click subscribe, leave a 5-star review. Please join the Facebook group Reality Life with Kate Casey to talk about this episode and more. Please check out all my other episodes as well. You can get my what to watch list at katecasey.substack.com. Please join to subscribe to get the list every week. Bonus episodes on my Patreon at patreon.com/KCasey. And then follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at KCCA, TikTok, it's Kate Casey, and Twitter and Threads and Blue Sky at Kate Casey. Check back for an all-new episode tomorrow.
You were made to travel the world and the 7 seas and countless lakes and innumerable rivers and one perfect pond. Get travel ideas from ChatGPT on Expedia. Made to travel.